Listen to this very carefully. Job loss is a good sign for the economy. That's not us saying it. That's a union minister. You heard it right. This unbelievable comment was made by none other than the country's new railway minister, Piyush Goyal, at the World Economic Forum's India Summit. Here's a look at what he said and what it has resulted in.
For the Union Minister Piyush Goyal, job loss is a good sign for the economy. Don't believe it? Hear it from Mantriji himself.
All three talked about the changing nature of jobs worldwide. And I think India is going through the same churn. What Sunil just spoke about companies bringing down their employment is a very good sign, in fact. The fact that today the youth of tomorrow is not looking to be a job seeker alone. He wants to be a job creator. The country today in India also is seeing more and more young people wanting to become entrepreneurs.
The minister's shocker came while speaking at the World Economic Forum's India Summit. Referring to a comment made by Bharti Airtel chairman Sunil Mittal on job cuts by the top 200 companies, Goyal said that job loss was a good sign for the economy and youth of tomorrow were not looking to be job seekers but job creators.
Youth of tomorrow is not looking to be a job seeker alone. He wants to be a job creator. The country today in India also is seeing more and more young people wanting to become entrepreneurs.
200 top companies actually saw a reduction in employment in the last few years, and a significant reduction. And if these 200 top companies are not going to generate jobs, it's going to get harder and harder for the whole business community to pull the society along with it.
Here is a reality check for Piyush Goyal. 212 startups have not survived in 2016. Several forced to shut down. In 2017, new internet and technology startups slumped to 800 from more than 6,000 last year.
कल उनके मंत्री ने कहा कि अच्छा है कि लोग रोजगार छोड़ रहे हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बढ़ रही है.
With elections around the corner in Gujarat, Goyal has clearly provided ammo to the opposition and left the Aam Aadmi fuming. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining us live now, we have the BJP's Syed Zafar Islam. We also have with us Dr. Arun Kumar, who's a well-known economist, will be joined shortly by a member of the Congress party as well. Mr. Islam, how appropriate is it and under what circumstances can a minister of this government actually say that job loss is a good sign? He may have been making a larger point about entrepreneurship, but what right does this minister have to call job loss a good sign, sir?
See, you have to read his statement, hear his statement in the right perspective. Now everyone is quoting out of context. What he meant and what is being quoted is very, very different. What he has clarified. You have to see the entire statement together.
He has said that job loss is a good sign because youth of today want to be job creators, not job seekers. That's his exact statement.
Let me come back to you.
Forget about context. That's his exact statement.
So
exact statement.
Exactly. I know exact sentence. I heard his statement, and I'm very clear what exactly he has spoken and what he meant and how he is being quoted out of context. He said that today the youth of India, unlike in the past, who never used to be job creator, they always used to seek jobs.
So job loss is a good sign. So job loss is a good thing then.
Is a job creator.
See, no, are you actually saying? Is that the official position of the BJP that job loss is a good thing? That larger point is independent, Mr. Islam. I know you're a smart man. I know you have to defend this. But the point is, is there any circumstance? The larger question being asked right now is there any circumstance in which job loss is a good thing, sir? Is there any circumstance in which job loss is a good thing?
Mr. Shiv Tharoor, If you want to see two sentences in isolation, then you will get a different perspective. But if you see put together both the sentence, then you will get a right perspective what the Honorable Minister meant. What he meant, today the youth is not overly worried about the job losses. What is more important, based on the empirical data, he said, we know the number of 2 crore, more than 2 crore youth has taken loan under Mudra scheme. So he is not talking out of context. He saying he has a reason why to speak about it. Tell me, is there any back data which you can give, which you can do a back testing where 2 crore youth have taken loan for the first time from the banking system?
You've made the second shocking comment of the day, Mr. Islam, by saying that the youth are not worried about job losses. I think that's a fairly irresponsible comment to make. But let me bring in the Congress party. We also have Dr. Arun Kumar, who's a well-known economist. Sanjay Jha, what do you think about Piyush Goyal's comment saying that job losses are a good sign? The BJP says you've got to see it in the context of job creation. You've got to see it in the context of entrepreneurship. And that's the context in which this comment was made. How would you respond to what Piyush Goyal has said? Sanjay Jha.
Shiv, let me tell you, it's an absurd economic argument. If you look at the context where he made that statement, there was a leading industrialist of India who expressed deep apprehensions that if the top 200 companies of our country are not able to create jobs, you're headed for a serious crisis. Now, let me give you an example. Even countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia, even smaller countries than India by far, even their manufacturing is creating jobs. Now the problem is, end of day, you got to recognize that demonetization has structurally damaged the Indian economy. Official data, this is not any spin, official data confirmed that 1.5 million jobs were lost in January to March of this calendar year. Now let me tell you, that's disconcerting because there is no net job creation. And I want to challenge this claim being made constantly by the BJP on Mudra scheme, which by the way even Mr. Yashwant Sinha corroborated. And Shiv, this is a laughable number. The average, if you look at the average loan given on Mudra scheme, it works out to 11,000 rupees. Are you expecting entrepreneurs to be born with 11,000 rupees to create a business, to become self-sufficient? The truth is we are facing a serious job crisis. Manufacturing is not able to create jobs. Agriculture is in serious distress. And even the service sector has plateaued off.
So you're saying it's an absurd comment to make given what has been happening. Mr. Islam, I'll give you a chance to respond to Sanjay. But before that, I want to bring in Dr. Arun Kumar, who's not from a political party, he's an economist. Dr. Arun Kumar, where do you stand on this? What is your reading of the minister's comment? Was it irresponsible? Is there a larger point, that is acceptable given the context of the point he was trying to make? What would you say, Dr. Kumar?
It's unfortunate to call job losses as something desirable because those who are unemployed and those who are especially underemployed, they are facing a crisis in their lives because their incomes are low and therefore they face poverty. Let me say that there are about 12 million children who come into the job market every year, but the so-called desirable organized sector jobs are hardly being created because industry is going in for massive automation. And therefore 80% of all investment goes into the organized sector, and there the job losses are taking place because of the automation.
Right.
And 20% of the investment goes into the unorganized sector, and especially agriculture where there are 47% of the workforce, they are getting only 3% of the investment. So in agriculture also what is happening is because of automation, tractorization, etc., there is no job. So what we call employment elasticity, in other words, as output goes up, how much is employment going up? And that is almost negligible in the country, and that's why you see the youth is protesting everywhere. And you had the example in UP where there were 360 jobs of peons,
right,
and there were 380 PhDs who applied, 2 lakh BTech and MTech, and total of 23 lakh people applied. So imagine the kind of frustration that the children are facing. They do a PhD, they do BTech, MTech, and they don't get a job.
Defensible at all? I mean, is there any context in which calling job loss a good sign? Is it defensible at all in any context then, Dr. Kumar?
No, so not at Not at all, because we need to create far more jobs today so that we can take care. And you know, the skill levels of our children are very poor, because Acer reports point out that 50% children in the 8th class cannot read 3rd class textbook, cannot do 3rd class mathematics, and cannot do writing. So unless you provide jobs for them, they with low skills will not be able to provide jobs for themselves. And that is where the crisis is, and that's where the very important
Syed Zafrul Islam, there is no context in which calling job loss a good sign is acceptable. The expert on the panel, Dr. Arun Kumar, has said so. You can choose to respond to both Sanjay Jha and him, Syed Zafrul Islam.
Well, I heard both of them. I want to clarify, Mr. Sanjay Jha, that the average loan under Mudra scheme, what he said, 11,000 is the incorrect number. I think he must go and check that the exact number is much more than that.
Okay, let's move beyond Mudra. Answer the larger point. Answer the larger point.
That if you so I'm saying that is what I'm coming to. That if you break his statement in parts, and if you see one part where he was talking about job losses as a good sign, obviously you will see his out of context, and you will get a different impression than the entire. If you see the whole part and the entire statement, you will get a different perspective. He never meant that anybody will understand the job losses is bad for anybody, but he was referring to the aspiration level of youth of this country, where the youth of this country is not only a job seeker but a job creator.
No, was it a bad choice of words then?
Today, fortunately, in India,
Mr. Islam, was it a bad choice of words?
A pattern, new pattern emerging.
No, if Piyush Goyal, who is a very astute political leader and a minister, did he just use a bad metaphor to to put forward a larger point about entrepreneurship or people becoming job creators? Was it a bad choice of words to say that job loss is a good sign? Are you willing to accept that?
No, maybe he could have chosen a different sentence to give the right.
Okay, so you're accepting that.
But irrespective of that, if you hear the full sentence, if you hear the full sentence, you will understand one thing, one message he's trying to deliver, which is very important for all of us to realize, and we should be proud of that, what he's trying to deliver.
Okay. Sanjay Jha, respond to that.
Is not only a job seeker,
Syed
but
Zafrul Islam says that the larger message about the entrepreneurial spirit of young India justifies the metaphor, but he could have chosen a separate metaphor or different language to put forward that message, but the larger message justifies it. Sanjay Jha.
Shiv, can I tell you, even that is wrong, because data tells you that the number of startups which have closed have actually risen by over 50%. The new investment coming into startups have virtually dried down. And let me tell you, when you look at the pyramid, the number of job creators are at the top of the pyramid. The real challenge is in people who are seeking jobs. Job creators will always happen. I mean, the reason why you have jobs in India today, whatever little they are because of people who created them. But they are always fewer in number. The challenge for India is at the bottom of the pyramid. For Piyush Goyal to miss the woods for the trees is, I think, a monumental embarrassment, because it tells you that this government hasn't understood where its priorities should be. Yes, entrepreneurship is important, but can you imagine millions of young graduates coming into the market and having zero prospects?
I think, yeah, I think young people, especially people who've been laid off, people who've lost their jobs, aren't going to be looking for context, Syed Zafrul Islam, for a statement from a senior minister, a respected leader, a highly astute political leader like Piyush Goyal, under any context. I don't think anybody's going to have the patience to look for context when you've got a minister actually telling them that job loss is a good sign. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Arun Kumar, in this current atmosphere. In 20 seconds, tell us what kind of message that sends out. Dr. Kumar.
So, when children are out of work, they're not getting proper jobs, salaries are very low, especially in the unorganized sector, then, the message is very incorrect. Entrepreneurship is very good, but as, has been already said, entrepreneurship requires you to take risk. Now, children who don't have capital cannot take risk. So, to expect, millions and millions of underemployed children to take risk is not possible, especially when the skill levels are very low. As ACER reports show, 50% children in 8th class cannot read 3rd class textbook, cannot do 3rd class mathematics. They're not going to be able to take the risk.
Okay.
For them, you have to provide jobs. The question is, what kind of investment will provide jobs? So the investment is the crucial aspect, and investment in education is very crucial. But we have never exceeded 3.9% of GDP on public education. We need a lot more on education before we can expect entrepreneurship to blossom. You also look at the way the cheating is going on in exams, where the skill levels are very low because children are not able to pass exams, etc. So in other words, education system itself needs a lot of reform.
So there is a bigger problem.
Our children will
your point is, your detailed point is taken, Dr. Kumar. There is a larger problem. Nothing justifies the use of this metaphor. Well, to his credit, Syed Zafarul Islam, representing the BJP, has said perhaps a different metaphor could have been used, but he defends the larger point that has been made. He says it's something to be proud of. Well, the debate continues on that. But thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this particular question.